What's up, everybody? Welcome to Snail Mail. Snail Mail. Snail Mail. Snail Mail. How low can you go? I don't know if I can go much lower.
No, I don't think so either.
Oh, man. Welcome, everybody. Friday's episode today. This is kind of the time of the week where we get to kick back, relax, and have no planning whatsoever for any part of the show, which is pretty much like normal anyways. But we get to do it with you guys today. So we are going to play some voicemails from you guys where you've called in. You've left us some feedback, left us some questions, told us about how much Land Rovers suck and how Land Rover is pulling out of the United States economy, which is funny. Just kidding. It's only for 30 days, but hopefully they'll never be back. Was that too hard? Gee, sorry.
All the Land Rover fans just turned off the podcast.
That's all right. All two of them?
Yeah,
three of them?
have one. But.
One of them? I'm crying, laughing. Okay. Oh, man, we're funny, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I did. I always thought myself as comical.
Yeah, that's good. Anyways, if you guys have any feedback for us or you want to tell us how awful Land Rovers are, you can do that at 916-345-4744. Leave us a voicemail. You can call in at 1 a.m., 3 p.m., 2:30 p.m., which is the best time to go to the dentist. Did you know that?
2:30?
Yeah, 2:30.
Yep.
So call in anytime you want. It does not ring. It goes to the voicemail. So we never hear it ring. So you can call in whenever you want. You're not going to disturb us in essence. And it doesn't matter if we're out of cell service because it just goes to Google Voice number. So we then listen to it here on the show and get to hear your feedback, hear your voices, and kind of directly pick on you, which is always fun too. So
yeah. I really don't understand why some people call in. It's like you're calling in just so that we can make fun of you.
Exactly.
And you're setting yourself up for it. Yeah. So I appreciate that.
Yes, I agree. I think it's awesome. All right. Shall we get right into this here?
Let's do it.
All right.
I'm excited.
First one up is Chuck from Washington.
Chuck from Washington.
Mm-hmm. Here we go.
Sweet.
Hey, Jimmy and Tyler. This is Chuck from Washington. I wanted to call in and tell you I just listened to the Polo Hot Air episode. Loved it. Probably one of my favorite episodes so far because I'm an absolute nerd on tire gauges, how much to air down to, the whole works. I'm always the guy that's trying to help people get it figured out in their specific vehicle, wheel width, tire combo that they have. We do lots and lots of snow wheeling up here, and that's kind of our basically only thing that we do for the most part. But one thing that I thought that maybe might be worth mentioning is, you guys talked about the risks of airing down too far being losing a bead or a sidewall puncture. Other thing to think about, at least when airing down extremely low, is the sidewalls can, on the inside, rub against each other and create friction and actually wear the tire from the inside out. I know you guys probably already know that, but that might be worth mentioning to maybe new off-roaders that are airing down in the snow to 1 PSI with some kind of speed retention. Speaking of that, if you're running method bead grips, it takes a very high amount of pressure to get them back on the bead if you do lose the bead. We ran into that this weekend because we got some new stuff new tires and wheels with the tire place put way too much lube on them. We actually lost the bead on a method bead grip, which is pretty rare, obviously.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to say is I had no idea about the piezoelectricity and how it works in digital gauges. That's really neat information. Thanks for that. But anyways, keep crawling, guys. See ya.
See ya, Chuck.
Thanks, Chuck. Thanks for calling in, man. Yeah, a couple of really good pieces of tidbit there. The Method bead grips are actually a really nice wheel for keeping the beads on your rim. They work really, really well. They're not quite as good as bead locks, but if you don't want to deal with bead locks, they are, in my opinion, the next best thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, what about internal bead locks?
That's a bead lock.
Okay, so if you're not dealing with any type of bead lock, not an external or a Hummer rim or any, okay.
Yep.
Got it.
So yeah, that's the first thing. The thing that I do want to, I don't know how the valve stem is situated on the Method bead grips. A lot of times Method likes to really protect their valve stems. And in my opinion, wheel manufacturers that make specifically off-road wheels are putting way too much effort into protecting their valve stems, because then it means you can't access the valve stem to air up and air down all the time.
Sure. Okay.
So just be aware of that. I've caught that a lot of times with customers, and they're just like, what do I do? I'm like, you need different wheels. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Get those 4-inch long valve stems.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm curious if Chuck knows how much pressure it ended up taking to reseat the beads on those bead grips.
I've heard those Method, is it bead grip or bead locks or bead grips?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Bead grips are great. That actually, it's a lot of work to get them to unseat a bead.
Yeah.
When you want to change your tires out, people don't like it because it's just so much work. So I've heard that side of the story. So I'm shocked that actually you guys lost one on a trail run. So yeah, I'm curious how much it took to get back on. And that's good feedback for those out there. Something we glossed over about, if you do air down too much, then you're actually rubbing, you have tire on tire rubbing on the inside of your tire there of the vehicle, because you're air down and your tire's folded over so much. All of that's rubbing onto each other and it's damaging the inside of your tire. So you can hurt your tire from the inside and make it weaker as it works its way out, especially if you're going to drive on it a long ways that way. So yeah, you just need to find that good cushion mark for your vehicle. And that all depends on so many factors. That's like from your vehicle weight to what size tire you're running, to the rim size, to the width and height. And yeah, it's just all kinds of different factors in there to find what's right for you.
Yep. I like it. It's some good stuff. I will say, talking about wheels that don't like to let go of the tires. We took my sidetracked off-road wheels and swapped out my punctured sidewall tire that I've had for over a year on the vehicle.
Okay. Yeah.
So I have a new Yokohama 40 on there. And the guys, the employees were the ones that were trying to get the old wheel and tire separated. They couldn't get it separated using the forklift.
Really?
And they actually ripped 4 holes in the sidewall trying to pull the tire and the wheel apart.
Oh my gosh.
So finally took it over to Stellarbuilt and used their tire machine to get it off. But even the tire machine at Stellarbuilt was like having some troubles.
Wow. So it was off the bead, but they couldn't remove the wheel out, or?
No, it wasn't off the bead.
It wasn't off the bead.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Wow.
So getting that back bead broken off of the wheel, they ripped 4 holes in the sidewall attempting that.
Yeah.
So apparently the sidetracked off-road wheels hold on really good as well.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
sweet.
Cool. Good stuff, Chuck. Thanks for calling in, man. Let's see. I don't know if we listened to this one. It says it's listened to, or it's been read, quote unquote. So let's check it out.
Hey, gentlemen, on the recovery straps, the kinetic straps in particular, left off one thing is that there is a rating on those as well, and it is appropriate to consider that when you have a vehicle that is a lightweight vehicle and you buy a strap for a heavyweight vehicle. I bought a kinetic strap that is basically a static strap because my vehicle is so light that it will never really stretch it enough to make it a kinetic strap. So keep that in mind as well. Also, you guys need to release those tokens so we can go hide them. Thank you.
I think we did listen to this one because we mentioned, because we talked about making more tokens and everything. So Yeah, so I believe we've already discussed that one.
Yeah.
And commented on it.
Roughly, yes, you need to have enough weight behind a kinetic strap for it to stretch.
Yep.
So buying the biggest kinetic strap out there is not smart. You have to really take into account what the weight of your vehicle is or the weight of vehicle pulling it. So,
yep.
All right. Moving on.
Next up is a 707 number, transcript not available, but it called back twice.
All right.
And went over on the first one. So
perfect.
Let's see what he got timed out on.
Hello, Snail Trail. It's Justin Cox from Chico. I listened to you guys playing my voicemails. I was not the Justin that you had beers with down in Sacramento, but I'm always down.
Come on down, man.
Over down there.
Let's go up.
But anyway,
it's a good beer in Chico.
Last weekend I took the whole family down to Yosemite for the weekend. My wife had booked a yurt in Curry Village for the weekend, and we went down kind of in part of that crazy weather. There was a ton of snow, like the most snow they've gotten all winter in the valley. But the weather was really actually nice while we were there, and we had a fantastic time. But the main reason for the call was my two oldest daughters did the junior ranger little activity where they fill out like the booklet and find things and draw different things in the booklet, and then at the end of it they got a little wooden badge that said junior ranger from the ranger that was there at the welcome center. And that was awesome. They enjoyed that. But in the packet, which I guess was printed in 1999, so I guess we have to give it some leeway. But in the packet, it still like talks about like for pooping outdoors to like dig like I think it said like an 8-inch hole and make sure you're like 90 feet away from water. And I was kind of surprised and kind of bothered by that, like with how many people go to the valley, like that's a terrible idea. Plus there's so many bathrooms, like every trail, every trailhead, every spot has a very nice bathroom. I think there's more like baby changing tables in the valley than like the whole town of Chico. Like it's crazy how like family friendly it is and how easy it is to get to a bathroom. So like I don't know why you'd ever need to like dig a hole in the valley. So I don't know. I was thinking about even reaching out to them and kind of giving a suggestion about that comment, because I was like, man, that is really out of date for how the park is now and how overused it is for that. And yeah, even in the snow in kind of an off time, there was still almost too many people there for me. But it was, the trailheads were pretty empty, but like Curry Village still had a ton of people until Monday. Then everybody cleared out. We stayed Sunday night too, so Monday was really nice, and then it started raining. But it was nice to not have that many people.
Wah wah
Wah wah. So
rolling
trombone.
over.
All right, here we go. Continuing
Calling
on.
back.
Hey, Justin Cox from Chico. I'll try to finish my story here. The only other thing I was going to kind of bring up is I kind of forget that with that being a national park, you get people in there literally from around the world. But on the pass coming in, they had chain controls. There was still some snow on the road. And so they were having all two-wheel drive vehicles put chains on. Luckily, we were in our all-wheel drive Subaru SUV, so we had chains, so we never had to put them I only lost traction once on the way out because it was snowing pretty hard by the time we got out of there. But it was only lost traction for a second and then got it back. But it was really surprising to me. I've never seen so many two-wheel drive 4Runners and Tacomas with chains on in my life. I was like, man, it seemed like every single 4Runner Tacoma I saw had chains on. Like, I don't know that I saw very many four-wheel drive ones in there. And then there was a bunch of Teslas with chains on, and it was just kind of kind of silly. And like the speed limit was 25 with chains on, and people were going like double that and weren't getting out of the way when it was double lanes. Like people weren't moving over if you were going slower. Like it was kind of just felt like you were driving in the Bay Area in the middle of a park in the middle of the snow. Like it was just kind of crazy. Yeah, anyway, we had a good time. Talk to you later. Bye.
See you, Justin.
Bye, Justin.
Thanks for calling in. Yeah, I think they should be updated, those pamphlets.
1,000%. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's some level of education that might need to be in there, but it would be like, get to a bathroom. There's tons of bathrooms around. Yeah. Use a wag bag if you have one to protect our environment and carry it out. Worst case scenario, dig a hole, away from water and deep, and bury it and put a rock on top of it or whatever.
Yeah.
And, I think there could be a level there, but there might, so many green or let me say rookie people go to a national park like Yosemite, and people from all over the world go to that national park that, there's some people that probably just don't have a wag bag on them or don't have these things that still might need that education.
Yep.
So I think that it might still be good to have, beneficial to have, just to teach and help educate them, and
Absolutely.
as a worst case scenario. But I think that they could be like, plan to go out on your trip by going to the bathroom first. And there's 4 bathrooms on this trail, or whatever. So I do agree that they should clean that up a little bit. But I do think that the education needs to be there.
100%. And that's the whole point of those pamphlets, right? Is to educate. And they're missing a whole, like you said, 3-4 different layers of education. Rather than just the worst case scenario, dig a hole and bury it.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. It definitely, if they haven't redone those pamphlets since 1999, that's
probably
sad.
time.
That's pretty bad. They need to redo them.
Yeah. 26 years later.
Yep.
Gnarly. My parents were just in Yosemite, not too long ago. They, had their 50th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
And they got married at one of the little chapels in the valley, and they went back to, the chapel on the same date. So they went to March 27th it was.
Nice.
So they went back there and walked around in the chapel on March 27th. So congrats to my parents. Happy 50th wedding anniversary. That's awesome.
That's cool.
But they said there was tons of water flowing and it was like a fantastic time to go. And it landed in the middle of the week. So they were there during the middle of the week, and they said it was vacant. They've never seen it in the like 50 years plus that they've been going to Yosemite. They've never seen it so empty, but it was just a middle of a week off season-ish scenario. So they were happy about that.
So that sounds like that's time to go then. Middle of the week.
Always. This time of year is so much fun to go because the snow's melting. All the waterfalls there are flowing and flowing massive amounts of water off these cliffs. And it's just absolutely beautiful. It's green there, maybe some snow on the high peaks, flowers are coming out. This time right now is a wonderful time to go to Yosemite.
All right. So I might be canceling Moab next week.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for calling in, Justin.
And Justin, about your 2-wheel drive 4Runners and Tacomas, I think those people just didn't know how to put it in 4-wheel drive.
I think they didn't realize they had 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, that could be.
I'm curious, were they putting the chains on the front axle?
Yeah, there you go.
That'd be even better.
That's funny. Cool. Thanks for calling in, Justin. Good to hear your voice again.
All right. Next up is Brian.
Brian.
No, I don't know. 408 area code. So
okay.
Let's see what he's got.
What's up, guys? It's Brian from the Bay. Been listening to your tire podcast. I think it's 582. And one argument that I've found for having a spare tire is if you hit your tire so hard that you dent your aluminum rim, which happened to me last time I was on the Rubicon. I think I had like a slow leak that I didn't notice, lost some pressure, and bam, hit a big rock on Cadillac Hill on the way out. And then just driving down the road after I aired up, I kept hearing this every time the tire flexed. It'd flex away from the bead and just let air out. So being someone who doesn't trailer, who drives, I had to swap on the spare tire. So that would be the only reason I would say that would be good, is in a rim damage as well. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of weight usually on the back of your rig, which is not great for off-roading, right? If you're trying to climb an obstacle, if you can have your weight over the front, you can get up a lot easier. Anyways, have a good day. Keep crawling.
Yeah, that's a really good point. We did not talk about that at all.
Yes, valid.
Rim issues. So dented rims, cracked rims, anything like that. Definitely a big concern. So
for sure. That is an issue with aluminum rims, because steel rims, you can just beat it with a stepchild, a redheaded stepchild, or a hammer, and kind of put it back into a general area of where it needs to be. Cause steel is malleable and aluminum will just crack. So, there's a value. Like I usually always run steel rims, on my vehicles, just because I can weld it or solve the problem or bend it back one way or another, where aluminum rims make sense. They're lighter, easier to spin, better gas mileage. But yeah, it's, if you have a problem on the trail with that rim, you're kind of out of luck.
Yep. So really good point. I like it.
Yeah, but valid point. That is a good reason to have a spare. Maybe just carry a spare rim.
Oh, there you go. Then you have to change a tire on the trail, I guess.
I know, that would suck. But it would solve that. You would not need to carry the tire and the extra weight. You just have to spend hours trying to figure out how to put a tire on.
Yeah.
And take one off.
And take one off. That's the hard part sometimes.
Yeah.
Brian called back.
Okay.
A couple days later.
All right.
So
perfect.
Next in line, we'll listen to see who's got.
Finish the episode.
Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe.
What's up, guys? It's Brian from the Bay, sitting in traffic here. Just finished up 584 on roll cages. I'm sure you're going to get a ton of comments on it. A couple things is, one, you said it's more important to have a cage if you're like experienced. I would argue against that. It's just important all the time, right? When you're new, you don't know that you're in a dangerous situation that you can roll over. When you're experienced, you try harder stuff. So there's that. And two, if you were talking about, like, if you don't know what you're doing when you're building a cage or whatever, your welds are important, but look up rule books for safety stuff. You mentioned Ultra 4. They'll tell you exactly how to build a cage for Ultra 4. And if it's good enough for Ultra 4, it's going to be good enough for your weekend wheeler. So those are just my two little inputs. Keep crawling, guys. Take it easy.
Yeah, we had that feedback. Thanks, Brian. We had that feedback from Toyota Don. He also said that on the one of the last snail mails there about looking up the rule books for race vehicles, and that'll help you design and organize your cage. But yeah, I think that, I mean, good point about cages should be important for all ages, not just the experienced one. I think I'm not entirely sure what context we were saying at that moment.
My guess is with age comes a cage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think that, with experience comes the willingness to try more stupid obstacles. So I think that to some extent makes sense. But I mean, I think if you have a capable vehicle that can do crazy obstacles, then you should probably be putting a cage on it at any point. But if you're an overland rig that's just going out and doing, fire roads or maybe some very, very mild overlanding kind of trails, I don't know if they absolutely need a cage. So,
yeah, I
mean, but on flip side, having a cage in your vehicle is going to save you if there is a catastrophic failure. So, yeah.
Yep. I agree. I got nothing really to add to that. I really like the idea of looking up the rule books.
Yes.
If you're going to look into building a cage. So that was a really good one. So I also got some feedback from other people that they also, for the first time, learned that pipe is for poop.
Nice. So
they're going to be using that too going forward.
That's funny. Yeah. At the Stellar Belt meetup, I met up with Eric from Relentless Fab.
Oh yeah.
And he had a few comments about our roll cage episode.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, we need to get you back on. Yeah. Or we not back on, but he's never been on, but we need to get him onto the podcast to talk about pretty much that exact scenario. Let's talk about designing and figuring out how to build a cage, because he's the perfect guy to talk about that.
Nice.
He's smart enough. He knows all that. He's built a few of them. I'm sure his fab and design work is top notch, and he's articulate and super smart. So I think we might get him on semi near future here to like dive into the thoughts of how to design a cage and where to put bars and how to set them up and connect everything and go from there. So we'll get him and maybe Brittany on to talk from Relentless Fab. And then I know we need to get Brittany and Lisa on to talk about the Rebel Rally and things they've got going.
Yep. Yeah, they're doing a lot of really cool stuff.
Yeah.
So next up is Zach from Oklahoma.
Hey, man. Haven't heard your name in a while on the podcast. Excited to hear from you.
No, it's not. Sorry.
Oh.
Take that back. I, for some reason, backed out of the one we were on. I'm guessing it's Babe Bryan. Yeah, Babe Bryan called back
a third time
the next day. So 3 separate days.
Okay.
And this one's a little bit longer. There's no transcript. So
okay.
Here we go.
Oh, did we get a butt dial?
I think we got a butt dial. Do we listen to it all? See if we can figure out what he's talking about in the background. I'm going to skip forward.
Totally got a butt dial.
So you can hear what's going on.
Sound like he's in a hallway. That is funny. Our first butt dial, ladies and gentlemen. Brian from the Bay. Thank you very much. I wonder if he realizes it.
Oh, the phone's moving around. We're coming up to the end.
He like looks at his
didn't
phone.
realize it.
Goes, oh, dang it. Oh, Brian. That's funny.
Brian just won an award.
Yay. You're our first butt dial, Brian.
Butt dial Brian, that's his new name.
Ooh, got it. From the Bay.
Yeah. Okay, now Zach from Oklahoma.
All right, Zach.
Here we go.
What's up, Jimmy and Tyler? It's Zach from Oklahoma. I feel like I haven't called in a bit, but it is what it is. But bringing up ratings again, I like the idea of like a number point a number system because it's similar to like rock climbing on top ropes and stuff. Although for rock climbing, that first number, which normally is a 5, isn't necessarily the person's skill. It's more of the type of terrain that you'd be on, which most rock climbing will be like a 5.1 to like a 13 or something like that. I can do up to like a 511 C or something. It gets a little challenging at those points. Anyways, but there are other ratings lower that more correlate with like whether you're just walking or hiking, and those are like class 1, class 2, class 3, and 4, which 4 is similar to 5, but the risk of fatality is still there, just different angle. 3 is more like scrambling, not necessarily needing a rope. 2 is like hiking, and then 1 is just like walking in the park. So I find that interesting. The correlations between those 2 ratings that was mentioned in, I forgot who called, for one of the snail mails for, today is the 28th, Snail Trail for 28th of March. Anyways, calling in more response to that, but I don't know. I just saw a correlation between rock climbing and that. Also, while on the topic of rock climbing, we have a thing called sandbagging. I don't know if this is in the off-road world, because I haven't heard of it, but you'll say like you got a V2, but it's not a V2. It's more of like a V4, which is harder. And they call it a V2 because it's sandbagged. So it's harder than what it is. Maybe that pops up in the off-road world in places that I haven't been, but I don't know. The sentence is in concept, but all right. Well, I'll catch y'all later. Y'all keep crawling.
Thanks, Zach.
Yeah.
I think the term sandbag is, that kind of works in line with it, right? That like if you're sandbagging, you're going slow, you're taking it easier. Well, but what he was saying was something is sandbag, it's a lower rating than its actual difficulty.
Yep.
And I don't necessarily think that we have a lot of it's not a commonly known sandbag trail ratings for off-road.
No.
I think it's
usually sandbagging is used more in like competitions that I've heard of it as, and it's used a lot in tennis. I know that.
Got it.
So if somebody is sandbagging, they're playing down from their skill level so that they win the tournament, right?
Sure.
They're more guaranteed to win the tournament. I would imagine it'd be like Cody Wagner going and competing in We Rocks, but like in the amateur division.
Yeah.
Or David Wong or something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
or in the the teenagers class.
Exactly. Right. Like that's sandbagging. So I don't know. Other than that, I mean, even then I haven't really ever heard of sandbagging being used in the off-road world too much.
I've never really, I mean, I know the term, but I've never heard of it used in the off-road side. And I think the two number system, I mean, it does make very similar things to, or sound very similar to rock climbing.
Yep.
It would have to be tweaked in its way to match the off-road trails. And maybe it would be one and the same. Maybe there is like we were sort of saying level of your vehicle and then level of the trail. And I think that is similar to rock climbing because it would go in level of the obstacle versus skill that is required to do do that obstacle, so like, it sounds like a 4 or 5 mountain is a difficult one compared to a 3, like a scramble. But then there's different levels on a 4 or 5 that make them more difficult. And he said C in there. He's like, he said, I'm a 511C, which is that's a hell of a climber there, Zach. But then they add letters to it. Now that's a whole nother mix in there. So, I mean, there's very similar setups there. And I like the idea personally.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
I do too. I think we need a different rating system for trails in the United States. The problem is getting some entity to adopt it because there's not one entity that oversees all the trails, right? So you'd have to get multiple entities to agree on it. Kind of thing.
And somebody would need to write the book up about what is a level 6 truck.
Yeah. Right.
Now we're going to like, how do you rate your vehicle and skill, like level of vehicle that it is, so like, what would you say is Kermit?
I would say Kermit's about a 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he needs a roll cage to be considered higher than that, but
okay.
That would be my first.
You think a roll cage increases the function of the vehicle?
No, but it decreases the risk of the vehicle.
Sure.
Yeah.
The risk of the driver.
And vehicle.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I probably would put Bobcat at like a 6.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Why wouldn't you put Bobcat higher?
Because it's leaf sprung.
That's fair.
On 37s.
Yeah.
And then I don't know.
Narrow and tall.
It's narrow, tall, tiny axles.
Yeah.
37s and leaf sprung. I mean, I can drive it.
Yeah, you can.
Like, and that might be another.
So you drive it like it's an 8 or 9. So.
Well, yeah, maybe. So I'm a 6C.
Yeah, right.
Or something like that. But I think that, there needs to be sort of someone needs to figure out how to rate a vehicle, because you could have something like Jason's CJ5 that's on 38s could be rated the same as Bobcat.
Yeah.
But, which one would be better? This maybe 100-inch wheelbase CJ5 or my 124-inch wheelbase of Bobcat. There might be someone that says, well, that vehicle is more capable, whichever one that is. That vehicle is more capable because of reason X.
Yeah.
And so it should be rated higher. But maybe Jason's is more capable because he has 38s and stickies on it compared to the 37s on, MTs that I have. So, it's like, Somebody needs to, you need to sit down and put all these in a calculator or something to get your output.
I wonder if it would have to be something based on the trail too. Cause like obviously a trail like Barrett Lake, the CJ is going to be a better vehicle. It's going to be able to get through stuff easier and quicker. Right.
Yeah.
I don't think Bobcat's going to have any issues at Barrett Lake because it doesn't. But I think Bobcat is better suited for trails that have more climbs in it.
Sure.
So like you'd also have to kind of bias your score based on tight, windy trail versus a lot of climbs or something.
And I think that comes into the second number, right? And that's how we were saying, how skilled is your vehicle? And then that is we'll be able to do a trail rating based on your vehicle.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Right. So it's not by trail, it's by vehicle for trail.
Yeah.
So Jason Green's CJ5, let's just say, is also a 6, just for sake of argument.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
just say it's a 5.5.
Because it's a Jeep.
Yeah.
It's 5. It's a 6A and mine's a 6B or whatever. But for Barrett Lake, that makes it trail rating, like how difficult the trail is for the CJ5, easier. So let's just say it's a 5, where for Bobcat with the same more or less vehicle rating, it might be a 6.
Yeah.
A little bit more difficult because there's some tight, windy spots and narrow stuff that you have to go through.
True.
So for me, it would be a little bit more difficult than it would for Jason's CJ5. You know, so I think that the hardest part is to figure out what the trail rating is.
Yeah.
Or the vehicle rating is, then to relate it to the trail.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of factors that would go into it.
Yeah.
Because even wheelbase, like we were talking about, like knowing the wheelbase of your vehicle and what type of trail it is, that should affect the trail rating.
Yeah.
For the score of the vehicle.
Yeah. I wonder if there's something that could be done that says 1 through 5 rating on your axle size. 1 through 5 rating on whether you have a front locker, 1 through 5 a rear locker, 1 through 5 for your transfer case reduction. I don't know, like that. And then you get a combination of your scores. And then that score would be what would be used for your vehicle rating for that trail.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah. Or it would be like I don't have the exact idea, but you made me think that they like you either get a +1 or a +0 if you have a front locker.
Yeah. Right.
Right. And then you have a +1 or +0 if you have a rear locker, or if you have, maybe if you have 35s, it's +1. If you have 36s, 2, 37s, 3, 30s, 8s, 4, blah, blah, blah. And at the end, you end up with this number, and then that is your trail rate. That's your vehicle rating.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So if you score from 100 points to 120 points, your vehicle rating 5. If you score from 121 to 130, your vehicle rating 6 or something.
Yeah. Or it'd just be if you score 100 to 120, the trail's going to be this easy for you. It's going to be hard for you. And 120 to 150, the trail's going to be pretty easy for you or medium. And then 150 and up, it's going to be a cakewalk. You're not going to have issues kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't know. There's so many ideas out there.
Right.
And there's many possible ways to do it. If you guys have any other ideas or have feedback on our ideas or want to add on to them, please call in.
Yep.
916-345-4744. Obviously this conversation about trail ratings has been going on for a long time, so it's not going to end anytime soon. So call in at your leisure and we'll be more than happy to continue this conversation with you on air.
I like it. I like it a lot. Fridays are snail mail. So we love talking with you guys. It's a really fun segment for us. Like Jimmy said, call in and leave us your feedback. So anything else? Is that it for this episode today?
I think that's it.
All right, then we are out of here.
We peace out.
We peace out. We peace out.
The number you have called has been disconnected.